But as the next speaker, I'll invite a speaker from RISEBA University, and that is no one other than Irina Sennikova. Let's welcome her to the stage. Welcome, Irina.
Good afternoon, or still good morning. I'm really happy to be here. And as you can see, the subject of my talk today is what does it take to be a successful woman in business? Do I have a right to talk about it? I don't know. Probably I feel maybe that yes. I have not been in like real business, but I have been managing and leading the university, RISEBA University, for many years. For 10 years, I've been in a position of the rector, and when my term expired, I still decided to stay, and now I'm a member of the board. I'm the dean of the business faculty and director of European Business Studies program, and we are a private university, so we operate as a business as well. And by the way, when I joined the university almost 30 years ago, and today we're celebrating 29 years of our existence. But as I joined it as a rector, also when coming to the rectors meeting, rectors conference, most of the rectors were men. Now their tendency is changing, and now there's about 35% of rectors leading the universities are also women, but still all big universities are led by men. Also talking about RISEBA, we position ourselves as a place where business meets art, and also when thinking what to say, I also put some of the girls or our alumni on the slides, where we believe and we will try also to create the environment and to nurture the culture when women may grow and develop. And as our alumni, just we can see many successful, we can say business women, but also from areas from art, like Lelde Kovalyova, who wrote 3 books and a very successful producer, whose book also has been screened, and the second sequence is going to be now. So families, businesses, students establish families, businesses, Linda and Christians producing furniture for kids, and also growing the family of 5 kids. Or students who've been in the corporate world, like Marina, who finished both bachelor, master studies with us, then worked in the corporate environment for quite a long time, but then being fascinated by her passion, established her own businesses, and now it's really in the art business of creating nice, flowery bouquet from different types of decorative objects. Or just last Tuesday, I also invited for my class in leadership one of our alumni, Yelena Gromova, also who is now quite famous in Latvia, a very successful lady who established her own company, activewear, being a sportsman herself, and now also found her passion in leading a business venture, producing sports, very sexy sportswear, as well as Nadia Kipra, who is the graduate of Art Academy, but whose husband is our alumni, and who established their businesses also when they were still part of the business incubator. Also found their passion in a rain. And examples, there can be just many examples like this. And in fact, any Western business school would be really happy if they had such composition of the student body, when proportion of females is really, really high. And I think generally the tendency in Latvia is that women tend to learn more than men do. But talking about success of women in business, I think just we cannot talk about it before we try to really understand or answer the question, is there really gender diversity in business arena? And I put in this slide one of the quote, surprisingly, from a person who is a CEO in the age limit of 40 plus from Latvia in finance industry, when he was asked whether he would hire a woman in his management team, he would say, I don't have any specific requirements towards women, but I will hire women only for those positions which fit to the roles. And somehow men tend to know what roles women fit, like accounting, finance, legal, crediting, you name it. So that would fill females' roles. And he said that I will never hire them to work with big corporate clients, as this is really dominated by men, and for the reason that they will never be able to negotiate like men do. And they will not be able to get a good deal for the company. And also surprisingly that he added, but if she will be able to negotiate as a man, I don't need her in my management team, because I don't need a man in a skirt in my management team. And he also said, I haven't seen really successful examples. So we talk about gender diversity, we talk about equality, but is there real equality? I think this question is still yet to be answered. And also, I come from the academic world, so also as a professor, I do research, and I have my PhD student who is also very professional in the field, with whom we now in the process of conducting research into gender diversity in corporate boards. And if you look at academic literature, the debate is really ongoing. So back in '77, it was said that there's still true that women who aspire to a position of leadership are often confronted with the same barriers that have blocked their progress. How many things has changed when we reached 2021? Some did, but again, if you look at the academic literature, you will see that we're still not there, and in fact, now European Union put it as a priority to promote gender equality in business environment, in education, in fact, in all spheres. And also starting with the year 2003, many countries introduced legislated quotas that to make sure that women are represented in corporate governance and are represented in corporate boards. Again, it raises lots of debates whether people should be hired by their professional qualities rather than gender attributes. But so gender equality is quite important. And nowadays, 15 countries regulate female representation in corporate boards. You can see the countries both in Europe and some other countries, even the countries with very paternalistic or masculine culture, like United Arab Emirates, for example. And also, as part of our research, we looked, in fact, at the global tendencies. What is happening in terms of gender diversity? And we notice, yes, true, that there is some growth in female representation in big companies, in the government, but the growth is very, very slow. And probably also, which is a very reasonable explanation, that coming from the quota, legislative quota, countries which are really ahead in this respect are Northern Europe, Scandinavian countries, and we know they're very pro-feminine countries. There are also Western Europe, Central and Eastern Europe somehow is still lagging behind, but I have to say also catching up. And where is Latvia in terms of gender diversity? Compared to other Central and Eastern European countries, as I said, we're doing quite well. We are leading in this respect, and if we look at our businesses and data from Lursoft, we also can see that 33% of incorporated companies have women as founders or co-founders. And these are different businesses. These can be big businesses, smaller businesses. They are represented as business owners. And they're also still saying that there are some industries are more male-dominated, some more female-dominated industries. And according to Lursoft data, so females, women are more represented in the retail trade, crop and animal husbandry, legal and accounting services, which fits the female role, real estate operations, but also now we can see also women leading big businesses, different types. And now we also see that Latvia is doing quite well in women representation in high-tech companies, and probably also different initiatives, European initiative, there's a lot Latvian initiatives which promote women in, say, high-tech industry, start bringing it results. But nevertheless, so 33% is quite a good number, but still if we look at Latvian 500 top companies, and if we look the composition of the CEOs who actually lead the companies, only it is a little bit less than 3%. Those who are really CEOs of big companies. And then it raises the question, what stops us in our professional and career growth? And what is it? So we now all know that we are equal. Even maybe sometimes we say just more equal. Yeah, but nevertheless, we can see that the main reason is that quite often women lack self-confidence. For a man to say if there is a really good job offer, the man would easily agree and say, oh, I can do it, without even really having all the competences. And then coming to the job, starting working, we'll get to know it and get around. Women tend to be the opposite. They see the position, very good one, maybe they aspire to this position, they want to take the job, but they will always have the question of self-doubt. Can I do it? Am I qualified enough? So really lacking self-confidence. And I think this is the issue which we really also as educators have to think about, or business incubators really have to think how to promote self-confidence in women. Of course, family patterns nowadays are changing, but how many roles women have to play in the society? Being in the business, being moms. By the way, I'm also a mom of 2 grown-up daughters. I am a grandmother of 4 grandkids. I also have 2 kids, 2 dogs. They have a house to take care of. I have to take care of the health of my husband, when I have to take physically him to the doctor. So the roles we are playing are really ambiguous, various, different, and quite often we just have to make a choice. By choice we say, I don't want to have it all. And if there are certain alternatives, we are choosing what to take and what not to take. But also success. If we talk about success, what is it success? Probably if I ask you, each individually, you would all say differently. We all have different answers. So if you go to business, you say you expect good financial reward. So is success measured by financial means, the extent I am independent, the extent I can afford things I would like to afford? Certainly yes, but not for all people. What are the measures of success? Is it more important for me work-life balance? And then I always have dilemmas what to choose. By the way, just last Tuesday, as I said, during my class on leadership with 4th-year students, I invited 2 of our graduates, one of whom was Yelena from Naked. And she said that very recently, I had such a good offer, financially so much rewarded, which was higher than when I was receiving working in London. But then she said, I have 2 kids. Regardless how attractive the offer, I decided not to take. I have the business which I have ambition to grow. I will work with it. So money in this respect, it's not my measure of success. Or is my measure of success to be passionate about what I'm doing? And also, for some people, it is. I feel stressed. I have lots of sleepless nights. I do lots of things, but I love what I do. And it helps in this respect. It helps to be successful when you love what you do. And they say also, if you are engaged in your hobby, like Marina, whom I referred to earlier, it's a business on one hand, but it's also you are doing what you are passionate about. And by the way, I think that passion is really key thing. Wherever we are talking about leadership, we're talking about entrepreneurship, business success, passion, I think it's the most important thing. Being emotional about what you're doing and being passionate about it. But also there are lots of debates when coming to organizations. Do we lead similarly? And again, of course, we are different. There is yin, yang, different energies. We lead differently. But also there are lots of arguments that men are better at analytical skills, reasoning skills, but women are better in making decisions with their gut feelings, are better with intuition, they are more empathic, they are more democratic, they bring human side to the organization. And I'm not saying that it's always like this, but because there are always exceptions. We all remember Iron Lady as Margaret Thatcher or some other examples, but generally, and research shows that women are more so democratic and engaging other people in their management. And also just what we bring to the organizations. So, as I said, we study a lot. So, continuous learning for women is really important. So, we bring professionalism, self-motivation. Who can motivate a woman more than she can motivate herself? Always finding what is it? What would inspire me? Building the network of relationship is quite important. Collaborative culture, communication, so which is, as I say, more human, both oral, written, critical thinking, always having, and when I say critical thinking, I always say that it's having doubts in your mind. Always asking, challenging, is it really like so? And you know, men quite often say, no, it is like this, and no arguments. Surprisingly also, there is a surprising, very good, interesting study conducted, which is regularly conducted by Bentley University in the United States, and which says, which is called Preparedness Survey. Preparedness Survey, when they survey more than 300 business leaders, business owners, recruiters, trying to understand, as part of other questions also, who is better prepared for business success. And generally, surprisingly, 70% of the respondents say that women are better fit for success. On the other hand, if you ask recruiters or companies who actually employed people, that when they recently employed women as their men and women, but employed for their first job. And you can see that 90% of respondents think that women have what it takes to succeed in business. 95% think that women are as ambitious as men. And 83% are interested in business. 57% of corporate recruiters feel women are better job candidates than men. A majority of recruiters and business decision makers think that women have those who they recently hired are better prepared than their male counterparts. And 80% of business leaders consider women better suited for business success, but in terms of their organizational, communicational, interpersonal skills. And then they ask a question, how come? But still the majority think that men are better suited for business success, and say that men want to have it all. For women, it is less, as I said, compromises, but giving something and enjoying some other things in return. And it also leads to the answer when we talk about fit for success, factors which will facilitate women's success. In fact, it is about abilities and skills, having all the necessary tools. And to have this, as I said, as part of education, encouragement, mentorship, this is what actually women require. Business incubators, in fact, when people, women, girls, go through business incubators, this is exactly what they get there. And this is my final slide, in fact, and this is, very recently I read regularly the blog of Dr. Adizes, who is also our honorary professor, and whose book, In Pursuit to Prime, has recently been translated to Latvian. Last week there was a presentation of the book. And who recently in his blog said, God is feminine energy. Feminine energy, and energy, when we talk about the energy, we're not necessarily talking about the sexes, genders, but it's really sometimes women have male energy, sometimes male or men can have female energy. But generally, feminine energy is about working with love rather than force. Female energy is integrative in nature, and this is what our organizations need. Because this is really focusing on integration and making a house a home. Whereas male energy is about more focusing on power, on reaching goals, on competing for resources, on command and control. But for modern organizations to develop, to cope with change, uncertainty, be agile, be prepared for accelerated change, the culture of mutual trust and respect within organizations is really a key. And I think this is what women can bring, and this also what contributes to their success. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Irina, for this wonderful presentation. Is there something else that you wanted to say to all the young women that just wants to start a business? Just one idea to inspire.
One idea I would say that first, be confident in yourself, but always develop, grow, learn. Learn from other people, learn from other women. I think that the best venture in Latvia, which has recently been established, is Forum Lidere. When you can learn from other women, when you can take inspiration from them, and also help each other. Because quite often you will be surprised that women don't like women bosses. So support each other and be confident, but learn.
That's very interesting. Irina, thank you once again for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. This was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.